13 more crazy WWE facts that sound fake but are actually 100% true. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Number 13, Stone Cold Stunner is 3 words and 16 letters. The Stone Cold Stunner is an iconic finisher of Stone Cold Steve Austin, and the shocking revelation about the move is that it has 3 words and 16 letters in total, obviously meaning 316, which is Austin's famous catchphrase. It's unclear if this is deliberate, but knowing the Texas Rattlesnake, it wouldn't be far-fetched to find out that Austin came up with a name to match his moniker. Number 12, Survivor Series was almost cancelled. A Survivor Series is WWE's second longest running pay-per-view, and it's been a staple of the WWE pay-per-view calendar for decades. With that being said, after the 2009 show failed to capture the imagination of fans and suffered a very low buy rate, Vince McMahon made the executive call to scrap the pay-per-view from the calendar entirely. McMahon was so sold on the idea that he even said this during a conference call in early 2010. We think that Survivor Series is obsolete as far as that title is concerned. It was something that worked many years ago in terms of a creative standpoint, various teams competing. That really is not advantageous as the customer now looks at what actually they are buying. The fan reception to this announcement wasn't exactly positive, and McMahon and WWE would revert the decision. It was claimed following the switch-up that McMahon always resented the pay-per-view concept and firmly believed that WWE were making the wrong call by keeping the pay-per-view on the annual calendar. Of course, that never happened, and Survivor Series still exists to this day. They've changed the pay-per-view quite dramatically from what it used to be. In current day, team elimination matches are rarely seen on the pay-per-view, if not altogether. The WWE tried brand warfare, and now they've adopted the War Games match for the annual pay-per-view. Number 11, Joe Hendry was once a Russian diplomat. It's common for independent wrestlers to receive roles as extras on WWE television, and in 2014, TNA megastar Joe Hendry would play a role on Raw. Hendry would play the character of a Russian diplomat for a segment with Rusev, and it's unbelievable to think that this so-called Russian diplomat would go on to win the TNA World title 11 years later. Not to mention also having a match with Randy Orton at WrestleMania 41. Number 10, no male wrestler born in the 90s has won a world title yet. The 90s saw names such as Austin Theory, Omos, and Bron Breakker all enter the world, but the crazy thing is, not a single male wrestler born in the 90s has won a world title in WWE. And this is definitely likely to change, as names such as Breakker do seem destined for the main event scene, and it will be interesting to see who breaks out to become the first name born in the 90s to become a world champion on the WWE's main roster. Number 9, Mick Foley retired at 34. When Mick Foley retired for the first time in 2000, it was presented to the audience that Foley was a beaten down old man. But in reality, he was just 34 years of age. Foley was younger than most of the top names in WWE right now, and he was even 5 years younger than the current face of WWE, Cody Rhodes. Foley didn't have much choice when it came to his initial retirement, as his body was giving up on him and he needed to take that time away. Even though Foley would return to the ring on more than one occasion, the 2000 retirement would mark the official end to his full-time run in pro wrestling. Number 8, there were almost 300 unique title reigns during Roman Reigns' title run. Roman Reigns' historic Universal title run lasted from 2020 to 2024, and in that time, WWE completely changed. In the time that Reigns was champion, Vince McMahon would leave, wrestlers would exit the company, and names such as Cody Rhodes and CM Punk would make their grand returns to the company. A fact that highlights just how long Reigns' Universal title reign lasted for is that there were 281 unique title reigns which took place during that specific time. And yes, 96 of them were from the infamous 24/7 title. Furthermore, the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships were introduced and had 11 different reigns and was made defunct in that same respective time. Number 7, all of this happened to Samoa Joe during Roman Reigns' reign. The career of the legendary Samoa Joe would change significantly during Roman Reigns' time as Universal Champion. In that 4-year period that Reigns was the Universal Champion, this is what happened to the Samoan Submission Machine. Samoa Joe would be assigned to become a WWE commentator due to injury. Joe was then released from the position. He was then rehired by WWE. He would become active on the NXT brand again and even won the NXT title for the 3rd time. He was forced to surrender the title due to catching COVID. He was then fired by WWE yet again. Joe would then sign with AEW, working both in AEW and Ring of Honor. Joe would win various titles during his AEW run, including becoming AEW World Champion. Joe would take time away from AEW TV to film a show, and he would make his grand return in early 2025. Number 6, Kelly Kelly's age when she retired was In 2012, former Divas champion Kelly made the call to retire from pro wrestling. In this same year, Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch would begin their journeys on the NXT brand, and Naomi made her debut on the main roster. The insane thing is that all of these women are around the same age, and when Kelly retired, she was in her 20s and could have in theory lasted for at least another decade. Number 5. Adam Rose is 3-1 against Roman Reigns. During Roman Reigns' run in FCW, the company wasn't yet sold on the idea of him being a top guy, and this meant that he often lost a lot at live events. Hilariously, Reigns had a total of 3 losses and 1 win against Adam Rose, who was wrestling under the name Leo Kruger at the time. The idea of Reigns losing 3 matches against anyone in 2025 was insane, and having 3 wins over Reigns is quite the achievement, jobber or not. Number 4. WWE is now older than WWF. There is a certain number of fans who are still not used to calling WWE, well, WWE. These fans still opt to call WWE WWF, and they often refer to the company as the Fed. The company was forced to change its name in 2002 due to a legal battle with the WWF charity, and now that it's been 23 years since the name change, WWE have officially been known as WWE longer than they were known as WWF. WWE filed for the initial trademark for WWF back in 1980, and this meant that the company was only known as WWF officially for 22 years. Number 3. Brock Lesnar has never wrestled a match on the USA Network. The WWE quite rightly liked to keep Brock Lesnar as a special attraction following his 2012 WWE return. One of the ways they kept Lesnar's appearances special was by not having him wrestle on Raw and SmackDown unless absolutely necessary. Lesnar would usually only wrestle on sporadic pay-per-view events, and due to this meant that Lesnar has never wrestled a match on the USA Network. While Lesnar was full-time between 2002 to 2004, his respective show wasn't on the USA Network, and with Lesnar not wrestling barely any matches on TV at all between 2012 and 2023, this statistic remained unchanged. Lesnar has been booked on matches on Raw over the past few years, but these have never officially got going, so they aren't listed as an official match that took place on the USA Network. Number 2. Heath Slater has pinfall victories over Edge and Chris Jericho on the same night. The SummerSlam 2010 was main evented by Team Nexus versus Team WWE, and although the match was overshadowed by John Cena politicking his way to victory, the match did attempt to showcase a certain Nexus member, that being Heath Slater. WWE randomly decided to heavily feature Slater in the match, and he would pin both Edge and Chris Jericho in the matchup. WWE were going all out and attempting to make Slater a star, and knowing what we know about the selfless nature of Edge and Jericho, it was likely their call to put over Slater in such a convincing manner. Unfortunately, the 2 respective pinfalls didn't mean a great deal, as all anyone could focus on was Team WWE getting the victory, and sadly Slater's momentum wouldn't last. And number 1, Bobby Roode was part of Triple H and Hulk Hogan's last ever matches. Former TNA World Champion Bobby Roode played a pivotal role for the final matches of 2 wrestling legends. In early 2012, Hulk Hogan would have his final match during his run in TNA, and Hogan would team with James Storm and Sting to take on Roode, Bully Ray, and Kurt Angle. Years later, during Roode's run on the main roster in WWE, he would be one of the men involved in Triple H's final active matchup. During a live event in Japan, the Game would team up with Shinsuke Nakamura to take on Roode and Samoa Joe. Roode, since stepping away from the squared circle, has taken on a role as an agent and a producer, and he's seen as one of the most important names backstage in WWE. Interestingly, Roode has even managed to build a strong connection with The Rock, as Roode was heavily involved in all of The Rock's work during his acclaimed run as the final boss. But there you have it, folks, 13 more crazy WWE facts that sound fake but are actually 100% true. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.